Okay, now we'd like to do something that is like this. Okay, it looks like this, but then if I click on the button, it can just change the color of part of this frame. Now, to do this, as I mentioned, we have to use a lot of panels. Now, first of all, the frame itself should has a different layout, a specific layout, which is border layout, which will allow me to put something in the south and something in the center. Now, in the south, I need the panel. Inside that panel, I'm going to put the buttons. And what is the layout inside this panel here? Flow layout is enough. I can put a grid, then, but it's not going to show exactly like this. The buttons are going to take more space. But yeah, I can also use a grid layout here. But I'm going to use this, this flow layout, so they can be centered like this. And then there's this panel over here. Inside this panel, in order for me to be able to divide these colors, I'm going to put inside this panel 3 panels. But this panel should have a a layout of type grid layout. Why grid? Because I would like to have 1 row and 3 columns. So I'm going to, in this center panel, I'm going to have another panel that is going to be one here for the red, another panel for the white, and another one for the blue. Which means how many panels am I going to use? 1 here, 2, and then 3, 4, 5. So 5 panels. One that is going to be here in the bottom. One, this is the south for the border layout. This is going to be the center. That's number 2. In this center, I'm going to split it into a grid layout of 3, 1 row and 3 columns. And each one of these cells, I'm going to put a different panel. So 2 plus 3 panels, that means 5 panels.
If you didn't use the panel itself, just use the layout, what's the
If you use the panel?
No, you didn't use the panel itself.
In which panel if that I did not use? I have 5 panels. Which one I'm not going to use? In the south? Yes, if you don't use the panel here, you cannot have 3 buttons.
Use the layout.
The flow layout is going to put one thing. Now if you this one is going to be a border layout, you said, right? So in the south you're going to be putting only one thing. If you put the button, one button is going to show up.
Should use the panel
to display more than one button inside the south of this frame. So that's why we did use that. So that's what we're going to use. So let's do that. I'm going to create a new class. I'm going to call, I don't know, color panels. Of course, without. I'm just going to call it color panels frame. I always just use the name of the class that is a frame as a frame, is it? So it just shows me that, okay, it is a frame. That's better to do that, so I can just remember that it's frame. And especially because later on we could use different classes, with one for the user interface, the other one for the logic behind the user interface. So the one that can be the frame, the other one without a frame. So anyways, this is a color panels frame that is going to extend JFrame. Now once I extend that, what should I do? I need to define my panels, all the different panels. And I have 3 buttons and 5 panels. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to have private panel. I'm going to call them like the one in the south. And I'll have to another panel, the one in the center. And then I have another panel in the red. And panel white. And the last one is panel blue. And I forgot to put the data type, which is a J panel. Yes? J and the first letter, just you type JP and control space. It does not help you. I don't know, but as you can see, if just by JP if I use JP, it helps me get some J panel. I think if I remove this one, put JP, or maybe you have to put another A. You have all these options, so you don't see any options. You see no options at all. Maybe there's, but you have to type another letter because there are so many things, or you have to just scroll down until you find the J panel. But generally with 3 letters you're more likely to find whatever you're looking for. So these are my 5 panels, and I'm going to add my 3 buttons. So J button, so button red, and then button white, and then button blue. Okay, let's add the constructor. I'm going to add the constructor that is going just to initialize nothing here. Maybe, yeah, just generate. I just would like to put, if I'd like to use one that is going to initialize the title, I would like to put the title myself, super, and then this is going to be color panels. And then let's put the set default close operation to be exit on close. Set size to be, let's 300 by, no, 300, that's the width, and the height I want it to be more, so let's put 5. And then set location, I'm going to make it 700 350. That's going to be roughly centered in my screen. And then what else? Set the layout. Now here I need to have new border layout. And do I have I would like to put some gap? No, I don't. So I'll just leave it like that. So I'm done with the frame. So I initialize the frame. Now let's initialize the other components, like the button, for example. Let's start with the button red, equal new J button. Then I'm going to put just the text red. And the button back color is red. So I'm just going to go and set the background color to be red. What I can do though is that, you see, this red is fine, but see the blue, the text is not showing. But I'm going to also put the red, the text. I would like to show you different things. So how to make the text now be white, let's say. Now what I need to do is to set something. Set what? Now you have a lot of different options here. So you should have a look and try to see, okay, what are the things that I can do with that button. And one of the things that you are going to be interested in is to have this. Set the foreground. Now you have a lot of different things that I advise you to have a look at. Just try to see what things do. But you see here, it says the foreground color of this component. Well, the background is the one in the back. The foreground is the one in the front. So that's what I'm going to do. And this, I'm going to make it white. Now, what is the difference between white lowercase and white capital letter? I have no idea. So I'm just going to be here, and probably it's just basically the same. Because if I make it white and then click on it, it takes me to exactly the same. So white capital is exactly the same as this. This is new color, which is RGB. If you're not familiar with that, well, not a big deal. You can still use these names. But if you'd like to be more customized, change whatever you want, you can use these numbers. RGB, red, green, blue. And you can mix these and to get whatever color you want. So anyways, so I'm going just to do the same thing for the white, but for the white I don't need to change the foreground color, which have to stay as it is. Welcome, Salam.
Change the name of the button.
Yes, of course. Thanks. I need to change this to white. The button white. And this is the button blue. In the button blue, I'm just going to write blue, and then the button blue should be changed as well to blue. And then I set the foreground to be white as well. Now, why is it complaining? Because maybe I missed something. Alright, and I prepared the buttons. Now the panels. I'm going to work with the panels in the south because this is where the buttons are going to be. So let's start with the panel in the south. Equal new jpanel. So this panel, though, I'm going to specify the layout manager to be new flow layout. Now you see in the flow layout there's some kind of different parameters. I just would like to show you. This is basically I'm happy with the default one. But here in the align, I can specify what kind of alignment do I want. For example, by default you just put them in the center. But what if I want them to be on the right side or on the left side? That's something that I could also change. So in the flow layout, if I select, for example, this one, these are the options that I can use. Flow layout dot left, dot right, or dot center. There's also dot leading and trailing. Leading and trailing is used if you're changing the sides, I mean the direction, from right to left, left to right. But anyways, you can force them to be left or right, or just by default they are centered. So if you don't choose anything like this that we used to do, it's by default centered, with the centered alignment of a default. So now, if I would like to have something else, we can specify something like what I want, either the alignment, or maybe the alignment and the gap between the buttons, or the controls. Now by default, you see, the gap is 5. If I'd like to have it more, I can just put it here. So for example, with this one, just so you can just see something different. So flow layout, I'm going to say center, and then for the gap, I'm going to put 10, 10. And that's what is going to go inside. Now this panel is prepared. So in that panel south, I'm going to add my different buttons. The first one I would like to see is the red. Then copy and paste for the white and blue. Now, what I'm going to do here, just I would like to test this. I'm going to create a new color panel frame and set it to visible to be true. Now you remember this creates an object. I did not give it a name, but immediately, because that object is of JFrame, I can set it to visible. This is some kind of a shortcut. Now running this, and you can see, where are my buttons? Now I added the buttons to the panel, but this panel was never added to the frame. This panel has been prepared. I have put the buttons in the panel, but the panel is not put in the frame. So that's my problem. What I need to do, I need to add the panel into the south. But I need to mention what it is, because this is a border layout, so I need to mention that this border layout dot south. So even if you prepare everything, if it's not going to show up unless you make them show up. Notice now the text is white on the blue. Now if I close this, I would like to show you now the default one. If I just not put anything, or maybe put more so I can see the space between them. Now if I run this thing now, you can see more space between the buttons because this is of the gap that I'm putting. This is one, the horizontal gap. The vertical gap are the gap when I have to go back to the line. Now the center, I can change it to right or left. Let's see if I put them right, what is going to happen. Well, not much, because actually the gap is too much. Let me put like the default gap of 5 and then see. Now they're to the right. I can put them to the left as well. But by default, if I'm not doing anything, it's like doing this. Center 5, 5. So, but this is the default one. So it put them centered. So if I remove all these and just call just the default flow layout, I'm going to see the exact same thing. But I can control them if I want to. Now, of course, you see there's a lot of different options. You have to look at the documentation. Now, every time when you have this thing here, especially when you have some options, well, have a look at different things, what I can do, etc. Have some reading, because we will not be having the time to check everything. But if you're interested into, okay, can I do this, can I do that, just look at the options that you have. Okay, what can I do with this? And then this can help you understand what's going on. If you'd like more help, we just can click on this one. This is going to open like a browser with an online help that you can read, and you can find more information there. Alright, so now this is done. Now I need just to add the other things now. You see, if anything happens, it just shows now one button here, doesn't show the others. Okay, how can I get now these buttons to work? Now before doing anything, I just would like to show you that I really need to have these here, different, like one panel into the others. So that's why I'm going to add some action listeners. So I'm going to add an action listener, which is a new action listener. And what this should do, now if I click on the red, on the button red, what should happen is that I would like the panel red to be the background to be red. Now the problem is this panel red, I'd never initialized it. At this time, it's still null. So if I'm just running this code, it's going to create a problem. Once I click on this button, it's going to tell me, first of all, null pointer. And even if it was not null, it's not going to show anywhere because I did not put it anywhere, this panel. So I need to add it somewhere to see it. Now, first of all, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to initialize all of those because I need them, so I'm just going to initialize them. So let me initialize them in a place where it's going to be clearly showing the initialization. So panel center is going to be a new JPanel. And I'm going to make this panel, this one in the center, remember I said I'm going to split it into 3 parts. So I'm going to use a grid layout to do that. So new grid layout. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of different things. You see, these are different layouts. Now, I'm just going to take this opportunity to point you to a link. This one over here. There's another one here that I can see. This is the official Java help. If you click on it, it will take you here, and you can have some kind of explanation of each one of these different layouts. And you can see there's a lot of different layouts. Grid bag layout, grid layout. This is the one that we've been using. This is a group layout, this is a spring layout. There's a lot of different layouts out there. And you have some examples on how to use them. This one as well, I like it because it gives you more code. So it shows you these kind of layouts, and then it gives you, okay, this is how you can use them, and it gives you the code that gives you this, so you can see everything in one place. And then you can move on to the next one, and there's another one. So you can have, this is the grid layout, etc. It explains to you also the same thing that you can find here. You can find it as well here. but this one maybe it's more visually interesting to have a look at. So you can learn more about those layouts here, but I'm not going to spend time on that. You have to have a look at them if you're interested in them. Alaikum salam. Okay, let's get back. So what we're saying is now we are going to put this to be a grid layout because we'd like to split it into 1 row, 3 columns. Now that I have those, what is going to be inside of each one of them? Now inside of this panel center, I'm going to put the first one on the left is going to be the panel red, and then the panel white, and then the panel blue. So this panel center is going to have 3 panels inside of it. That's why when I click on a button, this button is going to just update one part of that, just the panel that would like it to change. And now this panel center, I just would like to also add it to the center of the frame. So that's where I would like this to be. So that's why I put everything in one place, so I can just see what's inside the frame and what's inside each one of those panels. Now the other panels are like the panel red. These are just going to be initialized. I just need to mention any layout because my intention is not to put anything in them. So I'm just going to leave them like this. The only thing that I'm going to do is to do nothing actually. Just initialize them. So do the same thing with the white and blue. Yes. So now I initialize them, and then I put them in the grid layout. The first one is on the left red, then white, then blue. And then we have the button red. I added an action listener. I'm going to do the same with the white and do the same with the blue. However, each one of them is going to do something different. When I press on the button white, I mean this is the panel white that is going to be changed to the same color, which is white. And then the panel blue, when the button blue is pressed, the action is that the panel blue is going to be changed to blue. Now if I'm running this, I'm going to see that it just changed the colors.
Can you go up? Can you initialize the
Which one?
when you initialize the panel?
This one?
Yes.
Do I need to do anything? I just need to initialize them.
Without that. If you write the string, can you use the tickets?
If I write string
If you write the text, can
inside here, but does it accept the string? Let's see, what are the options? These are the different options that I have. I have a constructor that takes nothing, one that takes a layout manager, one that takes a boolean, one that takes a layout manager and a boolean. So there's no text in them. There's no option where I can put a text. And what do you put a text? Would like to see something written on it?
yes.
Then you put a label in it. Then you put a label, but if you put a label, you have to specify, okay, what kind of layout you're interested in. You wanted to take the whole panel, or no, just part of it? So you have to mention what kind of layout you want.
When you write the grid layout and type red and white.
This one,
Yes.
yeah.
You just initialize, right? Or just
Now when I'm mentioning the grid layout, is it all done? Thank you, brother. When I put in the grid layout, I want this panel to be split into whatever I want, this grid here.
and press the all.
And this panel center, I put inside of it the different panels.
When you what's inside the button blue?
I did put nothing. The panel blue, there's nothing in it. There's just it's a blank. Like when I execute here, you see, I know that there are 3 panels here. What's inside of them? Nothing. As you can see, there's nothing here. But if I click on them, it's going to. I'm able to change them.
If you did the button blue,
If I delete the button blue,
no, button blue equal new G panel.
how can you make button blue? You say panel blue,
Panel blue
but how can I just color just this part of the screen?
doesn't show.
No, because how you need to change the color of something. So here, if I remove this one, right? You remove the panel blue. That means I'm removing this here. That means when I'm clicking here, I need to change the color to blue. What should I put? Which one should be changed to blue? The panel center? It will change everything to blue. So that's why I need to do that. Now, I would like to do something more interesting, because now if I click on a button and I click on it again, it just puts this blue again. I don't want this to be blue. I want it to be removed, the blue. If I click on the blue, it makes blue, and if I click again, it will remove the blue. How can I do that?
You make
I need an if.
first degree.
I need to if, right? I need to if and ask a question. If the panel is already blue, don't make it blue. Make it the other color that was there. So this is, how can I know if the panel blue is blue or not? Get background. It's going to give me a color. Now this color, if it's equals color dot blue, that means it was blue already. So I don't want to change it to blue. I'm going to change it to, okay, what color? Gray. Well, let's say gray. Else, well, if this was not blue, that means, well, it's gray probably. So I need to put it blue. So now my button, this one, the panel blue, the button blue, if I click on it, it's going to check is the color is already blue. If it's already blue, okay, remove the blue and put it gray. If it wasn't, then put it blue. If I run this thing, click, click, but this is not like the same gray that I want. So maybe there's something else like light gray, and there is something like light gray. But is it the same gray? Let's see. Even the light gray is not the same gray. I can do something. I don't know what kind of gray it is, but what I can do, for example, just to make it the easier way, each one of them, I can set the background to be gray. All of them light gray. So I'm going to do the same thing for these ones. So when they show up, they're going to show up with this light gray. And then if I run this thing, they're going to, well, why is it light gray? I forgot to, yeah, the one should be blue. They're going to show up like this. And then if I click and click back, it just puts back the color so I don't see it. But what if I'd like to have this color? Well, I can if I want to. Just to make a small change from whatever you have in the videos, I'd like to show you something else. Now, I don't want to put this kind of gray. I'd like to get the gray that was there already. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remember the original color. How can I get the original color? So this is original background color. Okay? So when I'm initializing all those, right? And each one of these panels have this default color by default. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take one of them and get the color, get the background color. Now this is my original color. I'm going to save it, and I'm having it here. So every time, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put the original color here. So if the background is blue, I'm going to put it to the original color. If it was not blue, that means it's original color, so I'm going to put it blue. So now so what I did here, I got the original color because I just need to use one of them because all of them, they have the same color, right? So I use panel red to remember this is the original color. If I click now on blue, it's going to make it blue, but then put it back to the original color. So I don't need to care about what was the color. Is it blue, light gray, and waste my time trying to find it. I know it's there somewhere. Just save it and use it later on. So what I'm doing here, just go back here and see what I'm doing. When I click on the button blue, I get the background of the blue of this panel, and then I'll compare it. Is it equal to blue? So for example, if I run this thing, now if I click on the blue, it's going to take the background, this background here. Is it blue? No. So it's going to set the background to make it blue. So this is why it's working like this. Now if I click on it again, it gets this background. Is it blue? Well, yes, it is. Then put the original background color back. All I need to do now is just copy and paste these in each one of the different buttons. So in the white and the red, I'm going to do the same thing. So of course, except that I need to change the panel red here and the color to be red, and here I need to change the color, the panel white, and the color is white. Now if I run this thing, red, white and blue, all of them, they work the way I want them. Now one last thing, just to make them fancy enough, I'm just going to add a new menu item. What that menu item is, I just would like to have these red, white and blue, put them in a menu so you can practice also this menu thing. So if I need them, I need a menu bar. So that's the first thing. So this J menu bar, this is the menu bar that I need. Then I need another one, menu is, I need to use a control space, so I have, no, maybe J menu, but it does, yes, here. Now it's going to add the import that I needed, so it will not bother me. So this is my menu. I have only one, so I'm just going to put the menu. By one I mean I will have only one like this. I don't want to have more, so I want to have one like this. So the bar is for the whole thing. This menu is for this one, and I'm going to have only one. I'm going to, I don't know, call it for something else. But for the items, I would like to have one for the blue, one for the red, one for the white, and maybe one for the exit to stop the program, something like that. So here I'm going to have this menu item, G menu items. So this menu items, I'm going to have red, and another one for white, and another one for blue, and the last one for exit. Yes?
So the menu bar contains menus, and the menu contains menu items.
Exactly. In that order. The menu bar is the one that contains menus. I can have many menus if I want to, or just one. And every menu has menu items.
But I can have one menu bar.
I can have one menu bar.
But the rest are up to me.
Yeah, but I can have many menu items. Well, that's so far how it was. Now the way it worked now, maybe, you see, when I added the menu bar in the in the north, and because there was no panel, it didn't allow me to do that. Maybe now they added some kind of possibility to have more than one menu, so you can have menu right, menu left, a lot of them maybe. I never tried that, but generally you have one menu that is there, but maybe a lot of them they have the possibility to have more. I never tried that, but that's a good thing you can do. Just try it and let us know. Now I need to initialize those, so let's initialize them. So the first thing is the menu bar equal new J menu bar. Now there are no options there. The constructor doesn't give you any other options. There's just no argument constructor. And then there's this menu equal new J menu. So in that one I have different things. Now in all those things I'm just going to put just one that I'm going to call file. You know what? This gave me an idea. I want just like show you something different. You see this exit? I don't want it to be a menu item inside these. I'm not going to call it file, I'm going to call it colors. So I have like something here instead of file, it will be colors. If I click on it, I'll see red, white and blue. And then instead of this exit, I would like to put the menu, another menu to be exit. Because the menu here, I can have the menu also to be just one thing that I can click on. And if I click on it, it will not show me options, it just do some action. Just to show you something different. So this menu, I'm going to rename this to menu colors, because I put more. And then this, I will have another menu, which is menu exit. In this menu exit, I'm going to do something. This menu exit, I'm going to add an action listener, and this action listener is just going to do this system.exit. Remember, I need to put a number. If it's not 0, it's going to say there's a problem, like an error message. You're going to see this in red. So anyways, I prepared this exit, this exit. Now in the menu colors, I would like to put all these different colors. So I will just create this me red new J menu item. And what's the text is going to be? Red. And copy, paste. Another one for white. Another one for blue. And for the white, it's going to be white. For the blue, it's going to be blue. Now, each one of them, I would like to put these actions, right? Which basically is going to be exactly the same thing as this. Now, for the red, I would like to do the same thing. But it's not a good idea just to... I will copy and paste, but I'll improve that later. Okay, let's just do that. I will add an action listener for this me red. And this action listener is exactly going to do the same thing like the button did. But I'm going to change that, because why would I just copy and paste? I can just do two options. One option is that this action, I can make it in a subclass and just call that subclass from this or from there. This is what I'm going to do, just to show you, not subclasses, we did not use them a lot, but I'd like just to show you that this might be a good place where to use that class. I'm going to use that here now. Now instead of doing this like that, I'm going to create a class. I'm going to make it private class, then I'm going to call it red action that implements red color, I don't know. Let's make it red, that's it. That's why I complicate things. Which is going to implement the action listener. And this red is going to implement the action listener, which is going to implement that one. I'm going just to put this code here, into that one. And now this is the action that the red is going to do. Now instead of me going to create this, no, I'm just going to create a new red. Now this is going to, every time I click on this menu item, is the new red is going to be called, which is going to do this. And I'm going to change this one, the red thing, by doing also the same thing. It's going to be new red. So now every time there's a click on a button red or a click on menu item red, it's just going to execute the same code that is in here, in this red. And you guessed it, copy and paste. I have another one with white and blue. So with the blue, it's just going to be the panel blue, 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 and then this is going to be blue. And this is going to be blue too. And with the white, I'm going to copy this and paste it here and here and here, and then the white becomes, the red becomes white, and this becomes white. Yes?
Does it have a difference between capital and small?
No, it's the same. We've seen it before. Maybe you were out when we were doing this. When we click on this, with the if we press the control button, it becomes like a link. You can click on it, you will see what it is. See, this is public static final color white, lowercase, that has some kind of value. But check this one. The white capital letter is the same as white. So it's the same thing. Okay, so now what I need to do, just instead of having these anonymous classes, I'm going just to call, this is new white. I just need to remove one of the new things, and the other one is going to be new blue. Right, so this will help me now. Instead of putting any action in these ones, I just need to do this. Okay, I just need to copy this and paste it here, maybe here, and then here. So this was for the menu item red. For the menu item white, it should be white. And for the blue, the action listener is going to call the blue. Now if I run this thing, I'm not going to see the menus because they did not put them, but at least I'd like to make sure that it still works. Now I'd like to put them in the menu somewhere in the frame. So what am I going to put the menu thing? First of all, did I put things inside of each other? No, the menu bar doesn't have any menu items, right? So I have a menu bar. Inside that menu bar, I need to add the menu color and the menu exit. So that's what I'm going to do. In this menu bar, let's add this menu it doesn't want to help. And then this was the menu exit. I was just trying to organize things a little bit better because I would like to initialize this menu exit next to the place where I initialize the menu color. So I'll just put all the menus in one place, and then the menu items, I don't know, it's different. I think probably it will be better to have them like this. Okay, so I have the menu bar that initialized. Inside the menu bar, I put the menu color and menu exit. Now menu color needs to have these items, so I need to put them inside. So what I'm going to do is just this menu colors. I'm going to add the menu item red, then the white, then the blue. Should be what? Yeah, this is going to be. What do you mean? It doesn't have to be. It can be here. Now your question is, I'm adding them before I'm putting anything inside of them, right? That's still fine, because when you add them, you still have access to everything that if they're changed, they're going to be changed there. because when I add them, I add the reference, which means I will be able to change them if they're changed outside of that place. So I'm just putting like a place. This is what it's going to be connected to. Now the last thing that I need to do is to add this menu bar into the frame. So this is my menu bar that I'm going to add, but I need to put it somewhere where I'm going to add it. And the best place is to put it in the north. That's the usual one. We put it there. Now if I run, I have a null pointer. Okay, which one is creating the new pointer? I'm just going to see which one is my class. Among all these are not my classes, but this is mine. Oh, this is mine too. I'm going to click here, and it tells me, well, there's a problem. What I told you is that, you see this menu color, I have not initialized it yet, and I'm adding it into the menu bar, and it was complaining about that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip this over. The last thing I'm going to add is in the menu bar. Okay, things are running fast and I get lost. Okay, I'm going to put them here. So the menu bar, I'm going to initialize it and put the thing inside of it. Now same thing, I'm going to do the same thing with these menu colors. I'm not going to put anything in it unless I have initialized the items. After initializing the items, I put the colors, I initialize the color menu and I put them in it. So I will not be having that same problem. What about this one, menu exit? I'm putting it inside only at the end, so it doesn't matter. So the order is going to be opposite. So I create the ones before I add them. I need to initialize them, which is kind of weird. I mean, it's not weird. It's just something that is maybe logical, but it's weird for me because for other components we did not have to do that. But anyways, now if I run, I have the color. If I click on it, I have this kind of options, and I have the exit. If I click on it, there's no options. It just gets stuck. It did not do anything. I was hoping that if I click on it, it will do something, but it doesn't. It should exit, but it doesn't. So actually, I need to put the action here, not here. Even though this allows me to have an action. I have an action listener into here, but it doesn't allow me to. So anyways, I'm going to change my mind and put it back as a menu item. And put it back down there. This is not what I was expecting, but so this is new menu item, and it's not called like this anymore. So now this one, I'm going to add it after the blue into the menu colors. And so now I have only one menu colors, and then that one of them is the exit. If I click on it, then it will stop. So it seems like I cannot have it in menu item be an action, have an action. Sorry, a menu item has an action, but I can't just a menu have an action. That was something that I was expecting maybe not to be a problem, but it seems it is. So this here is the action taken after I click on this exit button. What about the others? Now if I click on red, it just do the same thing that the button does. So just do the same thing that the button does. Anyways. Can I do something like this kind of separator? That would be nice, but I don't know how to do that. Do you have an idea how we can do that? I'd like to add a separator, let's say. So the separator is a menu item, so I'm just going to separator. So this is going to be a line that I would like to add. How can I do that? I don't know. I'm just going to try to find out. I've never done this before, but I think it could be something like new menu item, J menu item. Now in this menu item, can I see what kind of things that I can do? Maybe as a text I can put something like this.
And then if you click it,
It will be clickable. I can make it that set enabled to be false. So nobody is going to be clicking on them, and then I will add it after before the exit. Okay, this is basic, but I mean this is something that is going to give me something. It's a separator of some kind, but it's not exactly. Nobody can click on it because it's not enabled, but it's some kind of separator that I can put. But I guess there is a better way. But if I don't know how to do that, this is what I'm going to do. J menu item separator and press enter. And one of the things how to use separators, this is a oracle.com, which is the official Java documentation. Click on it, and here it goes. There's a class called JSeparator. So if you'd like to have something like this, you need to add separator. Oh, you don't need to even give it a name or anything, just add separator. And that's what I'm going to do. So instead of creating the whole thing and giving it a menu item, create an object from it, I'm just going to remove that. And because I don't need this, I will remove it, this one. And all I need to do is that in the place where this is supposed to be, I'm going to add separator. There's a method add separator that's going to add a separator for me. And if I run it, Google, and here it is, a nice separator. Why I did this? I just want to show that you'll not be able to know everything, and it's not going to be easy for you to sometimes, you see, even if it was here, we did not have the time to go through each one of them and find, oh, there's an add separator that's going to be nice. So sometimes you can spot them here and find them, but sometimes if you don't, it's faster just to Google what you would like to do, and then you can get a quick answer there. And that's it for this exercise. So it was this is not what was meant. I added more than what was meant for this exercise, but I wanted just to show you different things that we did. So first of all, we saw that we can play around with this spacing of these and the alignment, and you have to go through these constructors that are given to you and read the documentation to see if you can do something different from what it's doing. And then we played also with the color, the background color, so we can get the background color. We did not want to know what it is, so we did something just to try to find it by doing something here like this when we get the background. And we played also with the foreground to make the colors to be of these buttons to be like these colors. And by the way, can I change the colors here? Well, let's find out. I don't know, but I guess yes. So what I'm going to do in this red, I'm going to set the background to be color red, and see if it's going to do some effect. It does. So, or maybe just change the foreground so it will be more. Change the foreground color to this, and it will be nicer. This one white, I don't know if it's going to be visible. This one blue. So this is white, and this is blue. And if I run, I will find some kind of nice colors. But this white thing is not really showing because it's kind of hard to see. Anyways, just to show you something different. Yep.
Take the background of the menu bar, of the menu.
Yes, you can change the background of each one individually, but for the whole menu, yeah, you can change that. I think for the menu colors, I can just change maybe the background color. Menu colors dot set background color then to whatever you want. So let's say color dot light gray or just gray, and see if this is going to be fine. No. So you have to do that individually probably. So anyways, you can experiment on your own. There's a lot of different things, and there's kind of like an application that if you really would like to practice all these things is going to be nice to do, which is some kind of a game. And that's my advice to you for the remaining time. Now let me explain to you what I would like to. And now I'm not going to put any restriction or give you any ideas on how the interface would look like, because I would like you to be free. And each one of you have different idea how these things work. But this is what the application should do. Now let's say we're going to have a hidden number, and we're going to fix it for now to be 70. Okay, 70 is the number that we need to find out. This is the game. Find the hidden number. The hidden number for us is going to be 70 all the time. We'll change that later on, but for now it's 70. Now your application, what it should do, it should just offer some place in this interface where the user can enter a number, because you'd like the objective is to find the 70. So the user is going to enter a number. He's going to tell you, okay, how about 50? Is it the number that I'm looking for? Is it the hidden number? And then you're going to tell him like different cases. If it's the number, you say congratulations, you find the number. But in this case, it's not. So you have to tell him a different thing. What is the other thing that you're going to tell him? If you're not telling him congratulations, you're going to tell him 50 is too small. So he'll know, okay, 50 too small, that means the hidden number is bigger than 50. Or if it's too big, it's going to tell him, okay, 50 is too big, so he has to now know that it's less than 50. So for example, let's say it's 70. Now if I type 50, I should see 50 is too big. Now my other option, I'm going to say, okay, what about 75? 75 is going to display to me, 75 is, what did it say? 50 is too small. Now 75 is too big. So now I know that the number is between 50 and 75. I'm going to say, okay, what about 60? And then you're going to display, okay, 60 is too small. And that's how it's going to go. Until I find, I press 70, and then if I check 70, you're going to say, oh, congratulations, it's 70. Now that's the simple game.
Use the while.
Use whatever you want. I'm not putting anything. Now this is the basic thing. Then later on I'm going to show you how to make this number change. And later on we can do something. We can count how many times he did this. Every trials, every time he enters a number, we count. Okay, one. Oh, you find the number after 5 trials. And then maybe you can just, after 10 trials, we can say, okay, sorry, you did not find it in enough trials, so just try again. So anyways, you can make this game even more interesting, but that's something that we can start with. Now the thing to start with is, you have a number 70. This is the hidden number that the user needs to find. And the user will input some numbers. If the numbers are smaller or bigger, you're going to display this number that you gave me is smaller or is bigger. And then if I find it, you say congratulations, you find it. And then later on we'll improve that to be something more interesting. Is that okay? Clear what needs to be done? No reaction, that means everything looks fine, right? Yeah, okay, let's try that.